My name is Karen Maynard. I'm a member of the PCSSD School Board, and I'm here to speak for SB 90. So I was a parent before I was a school board member, and I did use my time to go and speak to my school board, and I think everybody should be afforded that opportunity. And I'd love to have questions if you guys have any questions of a school board member.
Senator Flowers, you're recognized.
Thank you for your presence.
Welcome.
So your experience at your school district, has it been, has the school board been able to make policies concerning speaking at school boards?
Yes, our school board currently allows public speaking, so we do 3 minutes at the beginning of the meeting, so they have an opportunity to speak on anything that we're discussing that night or anything that's within our purview. So our board president does usually ask that they not, that they do have a First Amendment right to speak, but that they don't mention names if they can get their point across without doing that.
So your support for the bill, since you all are already pretty much doing this.
But as a parent, I knew other parents in other districts that didn't have the same opportunity as me, and it's very frustrating for not just parents but stakeholders to not be able to address their elected officials.
So you're aware of school districts that don't even have a policy for allowing public comment?
Yes, or if they do, it's a very complicated policy like what Ms. Senator English was talking about, where they've got to fill out forms, go in person and show ID, be there 5 days before, and then you have an unelected official making the decision on whether they get a speaker or not.
That being the school board president?
The superintendent. Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, that satisfies me. And you think this will take care of those local policies that you have some issues with, such as not allowing? How did you say that? How did you put what some schools are?
Oh, some of them are, I think there's some that are actually restricted to no comments, but then there's others that they have to go fill out a form 5 days before in person with ID, and it gets very complicated for a parent to be able to do that.
And at your school district, are they limited to speaking just on what's on the agenda?
No, they can speak on anything.
Okay.
So they get 3 minutes, and we do have a sign-up sheet just like we do here. And I do find it kind of funny that we have to have public comments on having public comments.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ms.
I was going to cede my time today to someone else, as I have some other matters that I was going to be speaking on today. But I'd like to thank you, Senator English, for being brave enough to bring this bill, forward to allow citizens to have the ability to interact with their school boards that are elected by us citizens and have a say in what goes on with our children within that school district. And I truly thank you for that. I thank all the members that are here today for hearing this bill, and I hear Senator Murdoch talk about guardrails. The guardrails are already there. School boards have laws that they are required to abide by, which does not allow comment on hiring or any infractions with teachers or students. I'm not a member of a school board. I'm a citizen of Hot Spring County. I have a school district that does not allow public comment. And we have been to school boards at this district many times seeking information that is not published, because not only does my school board not allow public comments, they do not publish the minutes of their meetings. They did not provide financial statements for the school district. And it is imperative we know where our tax dollars are going and how they are spent and how our children's educations are being handled within the state of Arkansas. And I think you guys are doing yeoman's work today and making sure that this bill, SB 90, gets passed, because it is important that all citizens have the ability, as you have here today, to come and have public comment and expect a certain level of decorum when you're doing that. And that is within the school district's purview to ensure that that happens. It is not the will of the people to have the elected legislators dictate what we're going to be able to talk about within our school districts and how we are able to address a school board. I expect people when they address school boards, and as I'm addressing you today, to be professional with their comments with an expected outcome that our children's best interest is what we're looking for.
Thank you. Members, any questions? Senator Flowers, you're recognized.
I'm sorry, I did not hear what school district you were from.
Ma'am, my children attended Glen Rose School District. My oldest daughter graduated last year. I'm still a tax-paying member of that school district, but Glen Rose School District in Hot Spring County, Malvern, Arkansas is the county seat.
And you're saying they don't even allow public speaking?
No, ma'am, they don't allow the public to engage with the school board at all at any point during the school board meeting or even have a discussion after the meeting is adjourned. They allow the school board members to leave the room, and then the superintendent will have a discussion with you once the school board is adjourned. And that is how they have worked there for several years now. And I'm very proud of you today to say that, and I support this bill 100%. And I think many citizens of this state, no matter of your party affiliation, wants to be able to interact with their government officials, and that is a government entity within our school district.
Okay, thank you.
I'm Missy Bosch.
You would please introduce yourself and you may begin.
I'm from Cabot as a parent, and I also have been reporting for Arkansas News over the abuses that schools have been hiding. I was going to play you a 2-minute and 30-second clip of when in 2022 I was fighting to allow public speaking at Cabot, and because they denied us, we actually filed a petition, got the 50 signatures, and they paid Beckett Billingsley and Key to figure out a way to circumvent that, and they still didn't allow us to speak at a public meeting, and they made us write down our concerns and hand those over, and then they decided not to read them all at the public school board meeting. So I would like to address your concerns. You said that there should be a filter process because if parents are allowed to speak, we'll abuse our time and chaos will ensue. But addressing the board really is our last resort. There's parents that signed up today that actually already marked out their names because they were afraid to public speak. And you mentioned parents getting on YouTube, getting riled up, but that wouldn't happen if they were allowed to speak at those school boards. Parents just want to be heard. The First Amendment isn't the First Amendment, and public speech isn't public speech if it's stifled and it has restrictions. The problem that we're finding is that superintendents are denying parents records of their children, punishing victims of bullying, and hiding abuse cases, even some of them being teachers. I mean, I would want to know if my child had a teacher that actually was caught abusing other kids. And so shouldn't the community and parents know these things? If there is a filter, the board will never place our agenda on their item list. So if schools are open and transparent, why are they afraid to hear parents, the actual stakeholders who entrust these people to protect our babies, voice concerns about the superintendent's failure to protect our children, or they even refuse to acknowledge the parents of problems? Just this morning, after I released that article on Cabot School District bullying, I've already had 25 messages in my inbox asking me what to do. And I'm not an advocate. I'm just someone that's just open to hearing people's problems. So what I would say is that parents should have the right to address, because it really is their last. The only time that I've seen in Cabot things get done are when parents post online on social media and put information online. And so if you don't want kids' names to be out, parents are left with no other choice but to say, so-and-so bullied my child, what do I do? The school refuses to acknowledge it. I've been on the forefront, like I said, since 2021, and these schools are allowed to use my tax dollars to hire lawyers to shut me up, but I don't have that kind of money, just free money in my pocket to hire lawyers to go back and try to fight them to allow me to speak. And that's really all that I wanted to say today. Did you have a question?
Thank you, Senator Murdoch. You have a question?
Yes. Or a point of clarity for you and whomever may come before or after you to speak. If you heard my testimony, I am not saying you should not have access. I am affirming access. The only thing I'm inputting is order and how we do that. So please be clear. I am not saying you should not have the ability for all those things that you mentioned. We agree.
So what if it is a teacher, sir, that has not been punished, or the superintendent, and I have to acknowledge, hey, This superintendent failed to give me my FOIA documents. He keeps allowing bullies back in school with kids that he sexually assaulted. Where do we go? I mean, Cabot has a very big problem with this. And so if the board never hears about it, how do we ever get it fixed?
So allow me to respond. That becomes what you have, the example you just used is a legal matter. It's not a public comment matter, really. But you can go to your elected school board member, I'm sure, that you elected in zones or however you all do it. So there is access that you have to those people. The public comment, so all of that should be taken care of, what you just mentioned. That is very egregious, legal, and that should be handled. I agree with you. Now I'm talking about how you do it. A public comment does not make that happen or effectuate that. What it does, it gets it out there, which still doesn't fix that problem you had. I'm talking about fixing the problem in an orderly manner versus just causing what may be and should be to some degree chaos, meaning public gets upset when they hear what you just said that's not being addressed, if that's factual. But what I'm saying to you, how you fix that is through another mean or mode, not a public comment. But again, I'm not saying public comment is not good, it's just the order of it. And I think you're supporting what I'm saying, be honest.
I am.
Because of what you're saying is something that needs to be taken care of in a very different way by you or whomever, that the public comment don't fix at all. But it definitely needs to be handled. So again, I'm just talking about order. That's it.
Yes, and so what we've encountered at Cabot is that we have emailed our board
Yeah, but
president.
I ain't gonna talk about Cabot. That's a conversation.
Right, or let's just say the parents that I've talked to, because I didn't just investigate Cabot, this is my personal experience. We email the board and we say, hey, we have these issues. And they are essentially being ran by the superintendent. They don't have the power over them. I have Little Rock, I have Nevada School, I have all of these. They are not. The board is more beholden to the superintendent and does what he says or she says rather than the board controlling the staff that they hire.
So your school board, let me just say this in general, not about any of those districts that you've named. The school board is your legislative body. And you as a public, you elect them. So you as a public can make decisions about their performance in general. That's where that happens. Public comment is not going to fix that. The ballot box might fix that or some other mechanism. But if you have, as you so described, a board that's beholding to versus taking care of their business independently, here at the legislature, the governor is the judicial, it's the executive branch. We're the legislative branch. We have a role, she has a role as governor. They're two separate roles.
Right.
So that has to be done in a different way.
But the superintendent's not elected, he's hired. And so
By the people you elected.
Right, and so we have to wait till that election comes up and, they do things behind closed doors. We have no idea what the finances are. We don't know what is going on in that school because they get it ahead of time, and so we're not allowed to ask them. And then when we do, they shut off our mic if we go off topic currently. And it's absolutely, it's not just Cabot, it's everywhere. I've got so many stories, and I think you guys are disconnecting from the fact that these people are supposed to oversee our babies, our kids. I mean, we have more stake in this than I do right here, right now with you, because it's so individualized.
Totally agree with you.
And nobody has a voice.
Totally agree with you, but you do have a voice, and where you have that voice is in a different place, which is electing and responsible people to represent you, because that information for you could come to you in various ways. It could come in a public meeting, or it could come from your individual school board member for your zone, district, or wherever you're elected that's responsible to you because you voted for them. So I think that's a whole different conversation. That's a whole different
I wish it worked that way.
It should.
I feel like we're kind of going in a circle here.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, other additional comment,
No, I'm done.
Thank you.
questions by the members? Thank you very much.
My name is Kimberly Leedy, and I live in the Cabot School District. Madam Chair, distinguished members of the Education Committee, I come before you not as a politician, but as a parent and citizen who believes in the fundamental promise of public education, that every child deserves a voice, and every community member deserves to be heard. I'm not here as a critic, but as a partner in our shared mission to create the strongest public education system in the nation. When we restrict dialogue, we don't just silence individuals, we fracture our communities. We create divisions where there should be collaboration. We model for our children that disagreement means dismissal rather than an opportunity for understanding. We must show our children that real change happens by bringing everyone to the table and listening, truly listening to each other. Our constitutional rights to free speech and open meeting laws guarantee us the opportunity to participate in public meetings, but the reality of school board governance throughout our state tells a different story. Arkansas Code 6-15-1702 explicitly requires schools to recognize that a parent is a full partner in the decisions that affect his or her child and family. When the Arkansas legislature crafted the Family and Community Engagement Statute, they understood that education is a collaborative journey where every parent and community member plays a vital role in nurturing our children's potential. The laws established our right to partner in the decisions that affect our children, the decisions made by the school board we elect, yet superintendents are serving as gatekeepers, often blocking us from addressing them directly. Somehow these administrators have forgotten a fundamental truth. They work under the direction of the school board, and the school board represents the community members who have elected them. While Senate Bill 90 eliminates the requirement for advance permission to speak, without a guaranteed speaking time, we risk still silencing parents, and the history in districts across the state, it makes me fear that they will set unrealistic time constraints. I request a 3-minute time limit, just like the Arkansas Department of Education does for theirs. Even the Arkansas School Board Association new school board member handbook even makes that recommendation in there should districts choose to have a public comments section of their meetings. 3 minutes isn't a privilege. It's the bare minimum needed to truly communicate a concern. Try explaining a complex educational issue, a budget problem, or a safety concern in less time. You can't. School board meetings are often the last resort for parents who've exhausted all other channels, and they deserve an opportunity to be heard. Senate Bill 90 is more than legislation. It's a statement of who we are as a community. It's a declaration that in Arkansas, we believe every voice matters. We trust our parents, we respect our communities, that we are willing to listen even when it's uncomfortable. Please pass Senate Bill 90, and let's show the nation what true educational leadership looks like. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your testimony.
hearing
Any
me.
questions, members? Seeing no questions, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.